Hand signal. I gotta move over. Okay, good evening, everybody. It is January 3rd, 2019. Welcome to our first meeting of the year, the annual organizational meeting. And if you would, could you please join me in a salute to the flag? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So tonight's meeting, we have a slightly different agenda. It's not a typical agenda type meeting because we're not going to cover all the bases that we usually do because we want to focus on the resolutions and motions required in our annual organizational meeting. I'm going to start with a few announcements, reports, that sort of thing from the town supervisor, and then we'll go right into resolutions and motions. Councilman Welsh had a conflict, and he'll be here in a few minutes, but he will be here. But I think a lot of these things he and I have talked about on the phone. The first thing, sad to say, I wanted to share with the board and the town is that we did not get our salt barn grant that we worked so hard on submitting. So very disappointing because we wanted that salt barn to be, it's an environmental issue, right, and they turned us down. So I don't know why, but they said, certainly we can, and we had a really good application. We had a lot of extra people writing letters for us and stuff. So I don't know what the reasoning was, but we can apply for it again. So maybe they feel guilty the second time around and they'll give it to us. But unfortunately, so we're going to talk about this in our next meeting, as we kind of shuffle around some of our capital projects. But anyway, first announcement. Second announcement, I think the board will be happy about this. We got our exit letter from Mr. Salem, who is the Director of Risk Management. Sorry, I was just thinking, if you don't mind, pass it on to Steve. So we have, as everybody knows, withdrawn from the Dutchess County Self-Insured Workers' Compensation Plan because of what we felt was, I wouldn't say mismanagement, but I guess poor management. You would, yeah. Raising the premiums up 375% for 1 year is not really a smart way to go. But anyway, we are waiting to hear from them in the month of March. They have 90 days rather to tally up our liabilities and everybody else's that left. Apparently 5 towns left at the same time. So they started with 13 and they've lost a few, and that might be fine for them. Maybe they'll be pleased to just work with the bigger towns. But anyway, we are now insured through Comp Alliance. We're all set, paperwork's in, and so we are legal and good, and they're going to come and do training sessions and stuff, so we will keep everybody posted. The next up, we have, did I get these for everybody? I did. Okay, here you go. Do we have any extras of these? I think I have. Okay, well, you get to pass this around. This is, and I'm going to, Elfrida and Augie, do you want one of these? Can you guys share one? I was going to save one for Councilman Welsh. Here you go. It's two-sided. Okay. So next up is an email that we got recently from the Department of Transportation, the county, DPW. They are targeting the 2 bridges on 21 there to replace, and that's right there between 21 and County Route 9. And the most viable detour route for this will involve Shaughnessy Road. So as they're finalizing plans, they would like to know if the town has any concerns with us using the route. I'm attaching a copy of the draft detour plan for your information. The time frame for this is mid to late April, and it will be a detour until November.
Oh, get out. They're so slow. They're pathetic.
Yeah, these are some small bridges.
So,
You heard me say that.
well, I've got to collect some. I told them I'd collect comments and I'd send them. I'd write them back. The other comment that I had was, those bridges aren't very big. I mean, they're big, but it's nice that we're getting them done because these things have to be done, and we all know that the impact of high water from climate change and everything else. But it's nice to get them done and on their dime. But the other thing is, we've got the circle being done. You know, we
Right.
we requested and they approved, and then they gave us a design that we approved to redo the circle at 21 and 9, going up to the mountain. I call it the Clove Circle right there at the beginning by the firehouse.
And from when to when is it going to take?
It was supposed to happen right after the snow.
Like,
So
Early
this looks a
spring.
little bit close. We're going to be, I'll be detoured. So,
Am I
that,
allowed to ask, what are they gonna do to the circle?
well, those are
They're
up
gonna
here. These are
remove it.
Oh, that's not the best picture, but, no, that's the parking lot. I have it in my office. I have a picture of that in my office. They're just going to eliminate the circle and make it an intersection so that the coming down the mountain can have the right of way. Because in the circle, it's become very dangerous, because now people know from LaGrange, once you get into a circle, you have the right of way, and they just keep going, and the people coming down the mountain, they're not stopping for them anymore. And the idea was to try to make it safer so that they could have right of way coming down the mountain. And in addition to that, it looks horrible. So, you know, it's got a mound, and which is a little dangerous, as Councilman Frazier had pointed out to us, that, you know, people can get airborne, and we all had a lot of concerns about the safety, and the appearance was awful. So they're going to come clean it all up for us and turn it into a real intersection, improve the sight lines, put more green around the edges. It won't be all that gravel, and so that's a good thing. But now that this has come up, I wrote this gentleman back and I said, listen, we need a little more information about how you're going to coordinate with the people that are doing the circle and how the timing is going to work and stuff. But this is what he sent, so I thought you might be interested in this. I'm not sure if you have many comments yet, other than it sounds like it's taking too long until we know how they're going to coordinate with the other projects. So, I love getting our projects done. You know, the infrastructure is nice to get it finished, but it's tough. It's an inconvenience, especially for you. As
I'm putting
Miss-
up a toll booth. 24 hours a day, you can get here.
I think that's a good idea.
Speed limit signs, mafia, blocks, speed bumps.
It's a good idea. So what we'll do is, I think we'll wait for the information. This will be a continuing, that we can talk on the phone too. I think what we'll do is wait for them to coordinate the other just tell us the details. All he said was mid-April to November, and that's all he gave us.
How much of a production would it be to get DEC to come and give permission to divert the stream so it doesn't go under the road, that little loopy-doo?
I don't know. That's a good question.
It's always a good question. I heard him tell
It's a horseshoe. So we'll write that down and we'll ask them, and then we'll see if we have to communicate with them directly. But that might be a big deal, wouldn't it?
that might be my property right there. I'd be willing to.
You see your name on the other one. Your name's on this one,
yep, on
the backside.
with the bridges.
I added or near it. I can't-
Oh,
Yeah.
right at the one end of it, where it says road closed, your name is next.
Oh, shoot, I thought it was more.
Well, they've got, yeah, they're just listing. Okay, so what we'll do is, I'll ask that question, and then we'll get back to this discussion in the next meeting after, or sooner. Since we know both of you are interested, we'll make sure we communicate with you, but directly. But we'll wait for them to tell us about the circle operation and all that, and then we'll have more information. So I know this will be on the agenda at our next meeting, but if we hear anything in the meantime, we can let you know. Okay, and you have Augie's phone number?
Yes.
Okay, okay, great, and we're all set. All right, sorry for the inconvenience. Okay, next discussion, real brief, and then we're going to go right to the resolution. I have two more items as far as supervisors' announcements. I wanted to talk to you all about something that came up that I really think that we should rectify tonight, even though none of the paperwork supports this. I'd like to make a change. In reviewing these numbers and putting everything together, it came to my attention that our zoning board chair is paid $1,300 in a stipend. She's paid $478 less than our planning board chair. And when I was looking at it, and I imagine that almost $500 difference came about because in years past, I mean, Jane Smith has been the zoning board chair for a long time. But in years past, my guess it came about was because the planning board maybe was extremely busy and they had maybe more than one meeting a month, or, you know, I don't know, there's a history there that we probably aren't aware of. But I will tell you, this year, those people on the zoning board have had to work so hard, and we're lucky she's a lawyer because she had to spend hours and hours and hours doing research on a couple of applicants. And I would like to move that, because in their budget, the money was there, because she's no longer using alternates. You know, because remember her concern about what was written in the code and thinking that needed to be flushed out a little bit more. The money's there in the budget. And I would like to move that we pay the 2 land use boards the exact same amount. I don't think she should be paid less. So I'd like to move that we pay, whatever we're paying Kevin, which I believe is $1,800, that he gets.
Can we bring this up again later in the meeting when John is here?
Yeah, sure. So think about that. I have the numbers if you're interested, but it's $478 difference. And I don't know why she'd be 13. I'm rounding. She's 13 and he's 18. So something to think about. And if he gets here, well, he'll be here before the end of the meeting for sure. All right, so let's talk about that. I also would like the town board to think about, we need a meeting delegate for the Association of Towns meeting. You know, they have that meeting on Sunday that we didn't stay for last year. And
It's on Wednesday, isn't it?
No,
it's at the end. Oh, is
Yeah.
it the beginning?
No,
No, it's at the
it's
end.
not Sunday, it's Wednesday.
Oh, it is? Oh, because the thing starts, okay. So
Yeah.
it's at the end. It's at the end and nobody, you know, most people want to get out of there and not stay. I mean, I could do it because I have relatives there and I won't be paying to stay anywhere anyway. But I do think we need to think about, and we'll do it in the next meeting, who would like to be, and you can just tell me and I can put your name in there. And if we don't have anybody, then I'll do it because I can stay at my family's and not pay. But I do think we need somebody there this year. Last year, they passed a couple of things I thought were interesting. It would have been nice. I read it later for us to know a little bit more. So the last thing is Conservation Advisory Council. I'm going to make this, say this to the town board already knows this. I'm saying this kind of because we're hoping some people are watching from home. And the thing about the Conservation Advisory, we pulled it from the resolutions for tonight's organizational meeting because we have, according to the town code, our Conservation Advisory Council, which did not meet once this year, and they've been kind of quiet. But the way that it works, according to our town code, is that everybody serves a term of 2 years, and then they rotate off. So it's really, we have to start a new Conservation Advisory Council. And we want, at this point, I want to just give a little commercial for the residents. Hopefully people are listening. But the General Municipal Law of the State of New York provides for the creation of a local conservation agency, with that agency being considered an advisory in its relation to the local legislative body. And our town board recognizes and supports the need for such an agency in order to ensure the wise use of the town's natural resources and the enhancement and protection of the environment. We're working on a solar development project. We are underutilizing our recycling center, and it's affected us this year because we had to raise prices, and we didn't want to do that. And we think that with some group of residents that are really interested in some of the environmental issues, we can round out our recycling center and perhaps bring some offerings to get the younger generation in to buy permits and stuff. But there's a lot of things that this council can do, and I know we've had one in the past. I think it's time we get all the new people on here, 5 members. And what's kind of neat is that they reserve that you can actually have a member on here that's 16 to 21 years of age. So if there was a high school student that wanted to join in with these adults, it's kind of a neat thing to get people that are interested in the environment. We're trying to round out the conservation awareness in Time Warp Park by bringing in some interesting speakers for adults because there's not enough going on for adults in the park, as adults have told us. There's a lot of room for a group of people that are interested in the environment. So the commercial is, if you're interested, would you please call the town clerk or send her an email and just send your name and number and tell her that you're interested. We'd really like to get 5 people on this board that can help us with all kinds of things that we're working on. In water, all kinds of things. So when we get a group of names together, we'll be in touch with you, but please sign up or please offer because we'd love to have you. And you can, it's a 2-year term, it's not terrible. So, all right, if you love the environment, we'd like to have you. Thanks. All right, and the last thing I'm going to give to the town board to read again for later is, I didn't realize we had this, but I'm very excited. We already have an investment policy. So we can talk about this later and at the next meeting. I wanted you guys to have it. It's part of our code. And what it enables us to do is now that short-term interest rates have risen, we need to invest some of our money. And we're only allowed to invest it in guaranteed, very secure things. But I'd like us to consider treasuries, and we'll take a look at that. But it's nice that we don't have to start from scratch. We have something, and then we can build on this and make it better, but at least we have something. Okay? All right, those are all the announcements I have. I just wanted to end by saying the light display was fantastic, and it's like poof, it's gone. You come in tonight and it's all gone, but those guys did a great job. So I know all of you think so, and I told Jake that everybody had said so and that we'd congratulate him again tonight on tape. So thank you, park gentlemen, for setting it up and making it so beautiful down there.
Kind of looked a little empty driving in.
I know, it's kind of sad to see it go,
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
like, oh,
Yeah.
no color now.
I know, and they like doing it, so it's a nice creative process. Okay, so why don't we at this point move to our resolutions and motions, part of the organizational meeting?
Well, do you want to do the public comment on agenda items, or no?
Is that on here?
Number 3. I
Sorry.
know we suggested 4 move, but what did you want
Yes,
to do with 3?
public comments on agenda items, I'm glad. Even in my glasses, I miss things. Does anybody have anything they want to say about the agenda tonight? Any comments you want to make?
We're going to be talking down at number 8 or whatever, it doesn't matter. You know what we,
Oh, on town issues?
Oh, on town issues.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that when we're
That's good,
finished
too.
with the formal stuff. Okay.
Okay.
All right, well, why don't we begin with, I'll read, why don't we rotate? Is that okay? I'll start number 1, Steve, and then we'll go to Councilman Frazier, and you go to number 2. And what we'll do is, at the very end, there were a lot of potential, I noticed in some towns, they have a resolution for every one of the points that we have on page 11, which is the 15th resolution. But I think because they were so similar, it was better to aggregate them. So whoever gets that one, who lands on that, can just do 2, and we'll each read 2. You won't have to read all 18 of those, okay? Okay. Makes sense?
Can I recommend that these that have details within them, that we skip the reading of the detailed part?
I agree. The dates of the
Yeah,
board
the
meetings,
dates, exactly.
the holidays,
Yeah. And,
Good idea.
And all the names here, they're all on file.
right, sounds good.
Okay? You just
Okay.
need the resolution portion.
Absolutely, and this is on the town website, it is at the town clerk's office, and it's going to be out on Unionville Mail, so people will get it. Okay, the Town of Unionville Town Board Resolution Number 1 of 2019, 19-1, establishing the town board meeting schedule. Be it resolved that subject to the schedule set forth below, the regular meetings of the Unionville Town Board will take place throughout the year 2019 on the 3rd Thursday of each month at 7:30 p.m. in the meeting room of Town Hall in the town of Unionville. Be it further resolved that, subject to the schedule set forth below, the town board work sessions will take place on the 1st Thursday of each month at 7:30 p.m. in said meeting room, and that special meetings, when called, will be scheduled and advertised by posting the announcement on the town website and the front bulletin board near the entrance to Town Hall with notification to the press. So the list of dates for the regular meeting and for the work sessions are January through December are in the resolution. Can I have a
Second.
second? All right. Roll call vote?
Supervisor Moss?
Yes? Aye?
Councilwoman Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman McMorris?
Yes?
Councilman Frazier?
Aye.
Okay. Resolution number 1 carries.
19-2, establishment of town hall hours. Be it resolved that the regular hours of town hall and the following offices for the town of Unionville for the year 2019 shall be Monday through Thursday from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. For the assessor, building, zoning, tax collector, and town supervisor's office, the town clerk's office is open from 9:30 to 4 p.m. The recreation and facilities rentals office is open from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday through Friday. Be it further resolved that from January through June 1st, Town Hall will have Saturday hours from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote?
I just have a quick question.
Yes.
Andrea, aren't you also here the 1st and 3rd Thursdays till 7?
Yeah, not
But
really.
we don't, like,
Yeah, I don't
write it
really-
down.
Well, actually, I am here for the work sessions. Yeah.
There you are.
It's
You don't
it's
have- she
published.
doesn't have to be
Yeah,
there.
I'm typically here, so, I mean, unofficially, officially, however.
Okay.
you make it, But yeah.
Gotcha.
Which she has advertised before, though, is if somebody wants to set an appointment, they can always come here, but she
Yeah.
doesn't use it as hours because nobody ever comes in.
It's been low.
And low attendance?
Yeah.
So, okay. So these are our formal hours.
Yeah.
Who seconded that, Dave?
Yeah.
Dave?
Is there discussion?
There is no such thing as 12 a.m. or 12 p.m. 12 is the meridian. So could we change this to 12 noon? Because that, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
12.
doesn't sound like just 3 hours.
And midnight?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It isn't. It's on the meridian.
I guess for clarification, 12 noon is good. But hopefully nobody thinks we're coming in. She was a science teacher.
We want it to be perfect. This is important, so thank you. Thank you. And Dave, Councilman Morris?
I'll make the adjustment.
I'll make the adjustment.
Amended to 12 noon.
So amended. And you seconded? All right, may we have a roll call vote?
Supervisor Moss?
Aye.
Councilwoman Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman McMorris?
Yes.
Councilman Frazier?
Aye.
Right, motion carries. Councilman McMorris?
Resolution number 3 of 2019, establish undertakings to be furnished by the officers and employees of the town of Unionville. Be it resolved that all official bonds and undertakings by the officers, clerks, or employees of the town of Unionville may be in the form of a blanket undertaking from any duly authorized corporate security, and said undertaking shall indemnify the town of Unionville against the loss of the type more particularly set forth in Article 2, Section 11 of the Public Officers Law. Be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Unionville does hereby authorize the town supervisor to purchase blanket insurance coverage from New York Municipal Insurance Reciprocal, better known as NYMERS, in the amount of $1 million to indemnify the town of Unionville.
Is there a second? I'll second it. May we have a roll call vote?
Supervisor Moss?
Aye.
Councilwoman Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman McMorris?
Aye.
Councilman Frazier?
Aye.
Okay, Councilwoman Kelly?
Resolution 19-4, acknowledgement of appointment of deputy supervisor and bookkeeper. Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Unionville, pursuant to section 42 of the town law, does hereby continue the position of deputy supervisor and bookkeeper, which position shall be filled by appointment of the supervisor, and be it further resolved that Betsy Moss, supervisor of the town of Unionville, does hereby appoint and designate John Walsh to serve as deputy supervisor and Danielle Carney to serve as bookkeeper for the year of 2019. Both will be compensated at a rate consistent with the salary established within the approval of the town of Unionville 2019 budget. Be it further resolved that the deputy supervisor and bookkeeper are empowered to act on the town supervisor's behalf at her request.
I'll second it.
All right, roll call vote?
Supervisor Moss?
Aye.
Councilman Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman McMorris?
Aye.
Councilman Frazier?
Aye.
Okay. Resolution 19-5, authorizing position of Deputy Town Superintendent of Highways. Be it resolved that the office of the Deputy Town Superintendent of Highways is hereby established for the town of Unionville. Be it further resolved, the Deputy Town Superintendent of Highways shall be appointed by and serve at the pleasure of the Town Superintendent of Highways. During the absence or inability of the Town Superintendent of Highways to act, such deputy shall act and be vested with all the powers and duties of the Town Superintendent as provided by law. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Let's have a roll call vote.
Supervisor Moss?
Aye.
Councilwoman Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman McMorris?
Aye.
Councilman Frazier?
Aye.
Okay.
19-6, an acknowledgement of appointment of deputy town clerk and tax collector. Whereas the town clerk is authorized to appoint deputies to town clerk, registrar of vital statistics positions, and a tax collector as that function operates out of the town clerk's office. Whereas Andrew Casey, town clerk, registrar of vital statistics, has appointed Elizabeth Panko as deputy town clerk, deputy registrar of vital statistics, and Joan Miller as tax collector of the town of Unionville for 2019. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board acknowledges the appointment of Elizabeth Panko as deputy clerk, deputy registrar of vital statistics, and Joan Miller as tax collector of the town of Unionville for 2019.
Great. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call vote? Aye. Aye.
Councilwoman Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman McMorris?
Aye.
Councilman Frazier?
Aye.
Councilman McMorris? Number 7.
Okay, 19.7, Town Board official appointments and designations for the year of 2019. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Unionville does hereby make or affirm the following appointments and designations for the year 2019. You want to read all these, or?
No, but these are all
As
employees. All employees except the designations, our law firm, our engineering firm, our auditor, IT support, all of these have been voted on and discussed all year. Actually, they're all repeats.
Yeah.
Workers' comp is the only thing we've changed from the county.
And that was
And
recently.
that we will approve this resolution with the appointments as listed within.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Roll call vote?
Supervisor Moss?
Aye.
Councilwoman Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman McMorris?
Aye.
Councilman Frazier?
Aye.
This is a long one. Karina, do you want to read? You okay reading this? I know your voice is probably.
19.8, appointing and reaffirming members and chairpersons to boards, committees, commissions, and councils. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Unionville is empowered to appoint residents to certain boards, commissions, committees, and councils. And whereas the Town Board of the Town of Unionville is empowered to appoint members to boards, commissions, committees, and councils as chairpersons. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Unionville does hereby appoint Kevin Derland to a 7-year term on the planning board expiring on December 31st of 2025, and also appoints Mr. Derland as chairperson of the planning board for the year of 2019. Be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Unionville does hereby appoint Jane Simpkins Smith as chairperson of the Zoning Board of Appeals for the year of 2019. And be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Unionville does hereby appoint Dennis Dunning as a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals for a 5-year term expiring on December 31st, 2023. Be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Unionville does hereby appoint Dave McMorris as chairperson of the Fire Advisory Commission for the year 2019. And be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Unionville does hereby approve or reaffirm the following committees, commissions, councils, and boards, all appointments at the pleasure of the board unless otherwise noted or governed by applicable law. And those will be listed and on file with the town clerk.
And the only one we'll come back to do is the Conservation Advisory Council has no names on it because the people that we're serving, we had done some projects in the past, but nothing recently. Their terms would be up anyway. So we will fill this and announce a Conservation Advisory Council later.
I'll second the motion.
Roll call vote?
Supervisor Moss?
Aye.
Councilwoman Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman McMorris?
Aye.
Councilman Frazier?
Aye.
Okay, Resolution 19-9, setting salaries and wages for elective officers for 2019. Be it resolved, the following elected positions be paid the following salaries for 2019. I'm going to read them just because there aren't that many and it's a requirement, but these are also, part of the package, and it was in the budget. Town council members, $5,933 for the year. Town clerk, $45,598. Town highway superintendent, $60,382. Town justices, $10,597. Town supervisor, $20,060. And the budget officer, which the town supervisor is an additional $3,035. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call vote?
Supervisor Moss?
Aye.
Councilwoman Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman McMorris?
Aye.
And Councilman Frazier?
Aye.
Okay, number 10. Councilman Frazier.
Yeah, I guess I'm next.
Yep.
Resolution 19-10, establishing salaries for appointed positions and employees. Be it resolved that the salaries of all persons holding an appointed position and/or are employed full-time or part-time in the Town of Unionville and is fixed for the respective designated positions in the 2019 town budget shall be paid to the holder of such offices and positions in accordance with the schedule annexed hereto.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote?
Supervisor Moss?
Aye.
Councilwoman Councilwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Councilman McMorris.
Aye.
Councilman Frazier.
Aye.
Motion carries. Councilman McMorris, number 11,
Okay,
please.
resolution number 11, appointment of equestrian director for Time Moore Park Equestrian Center. Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Unionville does hereby appoint Loretta Ryan to serve as equestrian director for the town of Unionville for the year of 2019 for an annual stipend of $2,500.
I'll second that.
Oh, go ahead.
Roll call vote.
Supervisor Moss.
Aye.
Councilwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Councilman McMorris.
Aye.
Councilman Frazier.
Aye.
Congratulations. Thank you for being here.
Resolution 1912, setting the holiday schedule for 2019. Be it resolved, the holiday schedule for the town of Unionville for the year of 2019 is listed in our handbook and listed here.
And on the website, it's the 7 federal holidays, isn't it?
I'll second.
The federal holidays plus day after Thanksgiving.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
All right,
that's
roll
the
call
only
vote.
addition.
Yeah.
Supervisor Moss.
Aye.
Councilwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Councilman McMorris.
Aye.
Councilman Frazier.
Aye.
Yeah, I guess we could say there's no changes.
I don't know if
there.
anyone officially seconded me.
I did.
Oh, okay.
Resolution number 13 for 2019, authorizing payment of specific bills prior to audit pursuant to town law, section 118, paragraph 2. Whereas the town of Unionville regularly incurs postage, freight, express charges, electric, gas, water, sewer, fuel, oil, and telephone services, and other public utility charges, hereinafter utility claims, and whereas utility claims must be paid in a prompt manner to avoid disruption of these needed services and to avoid financial penalties, and whereas the New York Town Law 118, paragraph 2, permits the town board to authorize the payment of certain claims in advance of the audit of such claim in addition to utility claims, and whereas the town board has determined that it is in the best interest of the citizens of the town of Unionville to authorize the payment of specific charges in advance of the audit of such claim. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Unionville does hereby authorize the town supervisor to issue checks and to pay in advance of audit specified bills and contracts, including principal and interest on bonds and bond anticipation notes, electric, telephone, postage, payroll, and approved stipend payments, including shared services payments for the town assessor, and the employee payroll deduction payments and disbursements such as health insurance premiums and retirement contributions as are recorded by the finance office. Vouchers for all claims paid prior to audit shall be presented at the next regular meeting of the town board for audit pursuant to the provisions of town law, section 119, paragraph 1.
I'll
Is there a
second
second? Roll call vote.
Supervisor Moss.
Aye.
Councilwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Councilman McMorris.
Aye.
Councilman Frazier.
Aye. Resolution 19-14, authorizing town supervisor and deputy town supervisor to comply with administrative and financial requirements for the year 2019. Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Unionville does hereby authorize the town supervisor to sign bank checks when necessary for all town business, and authorize the deputy town supervisor to sign bank checks when necessary in the absence of the town supervisor. The town board delegates the town supervisor, and in her absence, the deputy town supervisor, the duties and responsibilities necessary for the day-to-day administration of the town.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote.
Supervisor Moss.
Aye.
Councilwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Councilman McMorris.
Aye.
And Councilman Frazier.
Aye.
None of these have changed. These last two are the same. Councilman
Okay.
McMorris, thank you.
Resolution number 15, authorizations, policies, and procedures for 2019. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Unionville does hereby approve all of the following. 9.1, the frequency of compensation will be biweekly as determined by a 2018 town board vote for all employees. Temporary workers or volunteers receiving stipends will be paid at fiscal year end as agreed upon. 9.2, official meetings shall follow modified Robert's Rules of Order as determined by the supervisor or a majority of the town board.
Councilwoman Kelly will take the next two.
9.3, the rules of procedure for official meetings shall be as follows. All comments and questions shall be addressed to the town board. Public comments on agenda items shall take place prior to the consideration of any resolution. Public comments on general town issues will take place prior to any executive session or the close of the meeting. Speakers addressing the board are generally given 3 minutes to speak in order to permit the meeting to stay on schedule and to be fair to all those who wish to speak. 9.4, all purchases are required to be made in compliance with the town procurement policy and all applicable laws.
9.5, all bills will be submitted on town vouchers for payment. 9.6, vouchers are due to the town clerk's office excuse me, by all departments within the same week they were received by any vendor. That's new. Councilman Frazier, 9.7.
Mileage reimbursement for town officials and designated employees performing their duties while on official town business will be set at the IRS rate per mile of 58 cents for 2019. Petty cash shall be, 9.8, petty cash shall be distributed as follows, and if needed, tax collector $100, town clerk $200, park manager $200, building department $100, recycling center $100, and highway superintendent $100.
Thank you. Councilman Frazier? McMorris, sorry.
9.9, the rental of 2 Time Warp Park Road shall be $1,600 per month, and the rental of 11 Time Warp Park Road shall be determined after the renovation plans have been approved. 9.10, official town polling sites for District 1 and 2 are Unionville Senior Citizen Center at 8 Time Warp Park Road and Time Warp Park, and the Firehouse Station 1, 3373 Route 82 in Burbank for Districts 3 and 4.
9.11, the highway superintendent will submit proposed annual 284 contract to the town board, fully completed with distances, locations, and estimated pricing for review and approval before the town board agenda meeting in January. 9.12, active members of the Unionville Fire Company may be covered by the town's medical insurance at their discretion and expense as per New York State law.
9.13, active members of the Unionville Fire Company may purchase seasonal pool passes or annual recycling center permits for $1 in recognition of and appreciation for their service to the town. 9.14, additional insurance coverage or benefits through AFLAC, New York State Retirement, and New York State Deferred Compensation are available upon request.
9.15, the Town of Unionville will follow New York State and Town of Unionville FOIL laws and will respond to FOIL requests within 20 business days, except in situations where the amount of information requested would make a 20-day turnaround impractical. The town will acknowledge all requests within 5 business days as required by law. There will be a 25-cent fee per page for all documents requested and a $5 fee for any CDs requested to copy voluminous information. 9.16, the Unionville Town Board will hold a public hearing for general budget comments in August and for comments on the tentative budget in September prior to official town board meetings. A third public hearing will be held in a preliminary budget prior to October official town board meeting, and a fourth public hearing will be held prior to the November official town board meeting, after which the 2020 budget will be finalized by November 20th, 2019.
9.1. Sorry.
Yeah, 9.17. The town board will annually review and revise all, if necessary, the following documents consistent with the New York State Controller's Guides and all applicable laws. Town financial control policies and processes policies, credit card use policies and procedures, town procurement policy and procedure explanation form, information systems usage and security policy, cyber security citizens notification policy, employee handbook, town escrow policy, town master fee schedule, investment policy. 9.18, whereas the town law requires that the town board to audit the supervisor's financial records before January 20 of each year, and whereas prior year financial records and reports are not usually available before January 20, therefore, it is the policy of the town of Unionville Town Board that the Unionville Town Board will review and audit or have reviewed and audited by an outside auditor the books and records of the town supervisor, town clerk, tax collector, justice court, and building department prior to the end of May each year.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second. I want to go back to 9.3 and offer an amendment. The line stating public comments on general town issue will take place prior to any executive session. Executive sessions are flexible in their location within the meeting. I'd like to suggest that we replace that line to after new business.
In our agendas, we usually do have it there. So instead of okay, I think that was just
Confusion is if we do the executive session first, like 7
Exactly.
p.m.
There's our times that we
Right,
have to
yeah.
call executive session
Makes the
at
most
different
sense.
points within
Yeah.
the meeting.
prior to any new business.
Or no, the following new business.
Take place.
Okay, like on tonight's agenda,
Right, exactly.
following new business. That's great. Good idea. All right, with that amendment,
Yeah,
So
we have that
to,
second.
like-
I need a second on the
I'll
amendment.
second that.
And we vote on the amendment and then.
All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Any opposed? The amendment carries, so it will say following new business, the section of the
And I
agenda.
already seconded the resolution, so.
Right.
So can we have a roll call vote on resolution number 15?
Supervisor Motz?
Aye.
Councilwoman Kelly?
Yes.
Councilman McLaurin?
Aye.
Councilman Frazier?
Aye.
Okay, and the salary schedules everybody has is in the back for everybody in town, and good exercise, because we've got all of our recreation titles in line, and we're ready to go. Okay, so we have authorized all of our resolutions for the year 2019, so that was very successful. We'll have to fill Councilman Welsh in a little bit later, but they were all unanimous, so that's great. At this point, we turn to old business, and I had a few more things here, but I want to give everybody, I took the comments off because we were doing a little bit more of an organizational meeting, and we'll have board comments at our meeting on the 17th. But I'm wondering if anybody has any new business, as far as old business, we're working on the solar development. That's, we're waiting for contract
We're waiting for the
comments.
contracts to come, the leases to come back.
Yeah, so other than that, that will become something a big topic of conversation as soon as that's been returned to us. Does anybody else have any old business?
Yeah, as you all saw in email, we got the bids back from the highway truck that we were looking at. Low bid was Robert Green. I looked at the specifications.
What is that?
It matches what we were looking for. My recommendation is that we go with that unit.
Okay.
And the cost came in at the same cost as the original, virtually.
For the bigger truck?
Same cost for a much bigger truck. I looked at, the next closest one didn't use the correct specified body. We specified aluminum, and the next lowest was a galvanized steel, which is less resistant to corrosion and heavier. It all worked out.
That's fantastic, that was a great
If there's
process.
any questions on that, then, you know,
Yeah, I'm still a
entertain
little
those.
curious as to why we're going from, I think we're replacing a Silverado 2500, 2200?
I don't know, but it was a Pete DeForest truck, and it's
Yeah.
been
Yeah,
around
it's
since.
a 2500
A
pickup.
2500 pickup truck. Why we're going to a Ford F-450
Well,
or
it's a Dodge 5500
a
now.
Dodge 5500? Why are we going to such a large truck to replace a
more
pickup
things.
truck?
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
do more work. And what's gonna happen now, this truck can go out and do much of the work that the payloader would have to drive to. It'll get there quicker, it's less expensive to operate than the payloader. That was the reason for putting that crane on the vehicle. The pickup is just a pickup. This is actually going to do much more work.
Got more equipment and more additions.
Well,
Now, just to refresh, when we first talked about this, or when Superintendent Wisman had put it in the budget, it was at $86,000. And because that had been one of the quotes that he had gotten early on, and we did not plan on paying cash for this truck. We were going to, what we've got in the budget is a down payment and a lease agreement, and then I was waiting for this and some board approval, and then we'll start shopping for the exact terms that I can maybe have for the next board meeting.
Right.
So unless there's a hurry to put this, how many days do you have to put an order like this in?
Well, we want to have it in before March for sure, but the sooner you get it in, then the sooner he'll have that truck.
Would January 17th work for, that's our
Yeah.
regular meeting? So if we have the terms listed that night. Okay, so then the motion would be probably to set up the terms, authorize, I'll need to do the homework, and then we'll vote on the actual purchase that
Yeah, we'll need the financing
night.
listed within the resolution.
Okay, so do you want to put that in the form of a vote? I think we should go ahead and vote on that so I can officially do the homework.
I don't know, well, we can do that, I don't know that it's necessary.
Well, if you're not going to vote for this truck, I'm not going to waste my time finding financing. So what do you think?
Well,
It does
I'm in
take-
favor of it.
I missed what you said.
Yeah. I
I'd
said
like
I'm in
to put it
favor.
off to the January 17th meeting.
So why don't I make a motion?
Well, no, she wants to know whether she should go ahead and make a resolution for the next meeting.
It doesn't commit us.
This isn't approving
No.
purchasing anything.
Why don't you authorize the
This is
town
approving-
supervisor to do the research and pull together the financials to present at the next town board meeting for the board to contemplate? Is there a second on it?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so I will pull the numbers together and then we can review them and you can decide then. Only, I'll do my best to try to get them out early, okay? So everybody has time to ask questions and, okay?
Well, thank you again for putting that in.
So hold that thought,
Yes.
hold that thought. Did you want to comment on a truck?
Yeah.
Do you want to comment now, or would you like to wait to public comments on new issues? You'd like to talk
Is the
now?
truck going to stay in town? If the highway supervisor is off, God only knows where, then the truck should be available for the deputy supervisor, since it's got all these extras.
It's not being assigned to the highway superintendent.
Excuse me?
It is not being assigned to the highway superintendent.
Okay, so it stays in town?
It stays at the highway.
Well, it may need to run out of town to pick up materials or somewhat, you know, that's at the discretion of the superintendent.
But it's not a leisure vehicle.
Right. Only
work
for
vehicle.
town business.
So
Yeah.
it should be in town?
Yeah,
Okay,
Well, we're
Okay.
within reason.
whatever.
right. We get your message, but it's not for leisure. It's a work vehicle, so it will not be used for anything else.
From April.
Yeah, you're going to need a taxi service. That's what you're really looking for. All right, thank you for doing all that homework. That was great. It's good to have this, and I'll be circling back with you guys as I get some numbers in, okay? Any other old business, other than the solar development and other things? No? Okay. Any new business items? I have a few things to share with you here that I can share. I would like your reaction to this. Oh, actually, we were going to do discussion items right after the resolution, so I feel like this works right. This is these are things that come in that I want to share with you and get your reaction to. The National School Choice Week they're respecting that we consider endorsing it and making a public proclamation. It's a non-political and non-partisan. They're not advocating for or against any legislation. Our goal is simply to raise awareness among parents of the public and non-public K-12 education options available to their children. I mean, they're asking us to do this in the next meeting. To me, I think in the city, sometimes these things are really helpful because so many people are jammed into some really bad schools. Does anybody think that, do you want to do, I mean, would you feel comfortable doing a proclamation for school choice?
I don't want to make any proclamation without seeing the details that are within it.
Well, I would send them to you in the package to think about. Otherwise, I mean, I asked some of the people here at Town Hall, what do you think? And they said, wow, you know, I guess if I could use my tax money to go to a better school, but we have good schools, so you know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
really something that's consistent with our area, but if anybody feels strongly about it, we can make a proclamation.
Yeah,
Well,
I feel like we have so many schools in Unionville.
I think
We
we're fine.
represent
beyond
3
that.
different school districts,
If-
It's kind of
so.
it's kind of weird, okay, but I don't
If
want
you
to
could
just,
forward this to us, then we can decide at the next meeting what we want to do. When we
Well, we
have
may have
time to
already
digest
decided.
it. Well, I have, and I'm not going to decide. tonight.
Okay, just forward it.
okay, you can keep that one. Hang on, it's probably easier to have it in hard copy anyway. All right, so we'll come back to that one. Dave, I thought of you on this. Did you see the Solar for All, a webinar? I'll pass this down, and I only printed 2 because this is NYSERDA. They're launching a new low-income community solar program. There's 2 pages if you want one. It's just a way that New York State homeowners and renters can participate in local community solar. They try to match people up so people can get $5 to $15 a month off their monthly electric bill. It may be worth listening to that webinar since this is a priority of yours, and then you could inform us maybe at the next. It's January 8th, so if you have time and it's convenient, maybe you could fill us in. Just to keep everybody updated, this is an announcement, New York State Peace Officer agencies and employers. This is recent updates to peace officer training. I'm assuming that you guys want to stay abreast of what our hardworking constables have to do to be current, so that's for you to read. And then I wanted to mention, this is kind of a discussion, we have some things happening this year, you know, that we're going to be talking about, and one of them is that the gentleman, this is interesting, the gentleman that owns this property here, if the equestrian center's here, and you keep going past the equestrian center, on the right-hand side, you get to Beekman, the line is
Yes.
there. And this, Mr. Vilcek owns 29 acres, but it's in Beekman proper. But there's a sign on it that came up within the last few days, I think last weekend. The sign says, "For sale by owner, 2-acre lots." So, and it's in Beekman and it's zoned 90 square feet or 90,000 square feet, so it's about 2 acres. So I'm passing this around. I mean, you just may want to look at this. It's this block right here. I'm mentioning to us because I think at some point, I mean, there were a couple people that called and came in and were very upset because they thought, oh my gosh, that would be 10 new houses, and then think of all the ATV traffic in the park that we're having trouble with.
Good access.
Yeah, and it's past our equestrian center, so, and then of course on the other side of it is town property. It's just, anyway, there was, Betty Albrecht came in and brought me information about a grant from New York State Ag and Markets, where they are encouraging us to try to buy property, try to buy land using grant money to make it sure it stays rural. So I thought that was very sweet of her to do that, and it's something that we may want to take a look at, but when you get a chance, you may want to drive through, just drive that way. Because it's got our park on the other side of it. You know, it's just something to be aware of, and it may come up that we want to talk about it again. Okay? All right, those were my discussion items. Anybody have any other discussion items or things that you want to discuss? We're getting ready to go ahead.
You wanted to bring it up again when John got here,
Oh.
about planning board, zoning board.
Thank you. Came up, John, and then it was requested that we wait for you to arrive.
Nice.
In doing, this is your copy of the letter, here you go. So in doing, putting all the numbers together,
Files everywhere.
yeah, in putting all the numbers together, I noticed that the ZBA chair stipend is almost $500 less than the planning board chair stipend. And I want to rectify that situation because I know that ebbs and flows the business that both these boards have, and probably in years past, which is maybe why Councilman Frazier thought it'd be good to, maybe you have some history that you could share with us about why the planning board, maybe it was they used to be so much busier.
They used to be a heck of a lot busier, tremendously more busy.
Yeah,
But now it's kind of, I would say it's become more equitable.
it's been more
And some of the stuff on ZBA is becoming
really complicated.
really challenging, yeah, and time consuming.
And they're doing a lot of research, and,
Yes.
the planning board chair gets a stipend of a little over $1,800, and the zoning board chair gets a stipend of a little over $1,300. And I would like to make a motion that we make sure that both those land use boards are paid the same. And we have the money in the budget, in the zoning board portion of the budget, to bring her up to, or that chair, up to the $1,800 level where the planning board is. So I would like to see us do that and then change our numbers for the year 2019, if that's okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No?
It's a great
Okay.
idea.
Thank you. Motion carries. We'll make those changes right away. Thank you very much. Okay. Public comments on town issues. Did you have any? You sure?
Well, back to the road thing. It's really a recreational road. We have walkers. Aki walks just about every day. I don't walk far. But we have walkers. We have birders. We have a lot of wildlife on there. Not so much deer anymore, unfortunately.
With turkeys.
But everything else. Bear, we have our own bear. With baby.
You're going to be advertising more walkers.
Yeah, right.
That's fine. The road hasn't been resurfaced probably since Bill Durkee was supervisor. That's about 30 years, I guess, now.
Wow.
Which is fine. It has its still potholes. I'm happy about that. I would like, I can't say, unless I purchase all the land on that road, that is a private road. Mark, the other main landowner, and I have talked about privatizing the road, and then we laughed. I would like speed limit signs, you know, having people slow down. I have deaf cats. I
Yeah.
know they have signs for deaf people, can we do deaf cat signs? Speed bumps, can we put speed
No.
bumps on our
I
road?
can tell you, you can't do that.
Can I put rocks out there, big rocks?
What are you blocking the
How's
road?
your liability insurance?
Yeah, I was gonna say, only get your own,
Yeah.
Traffic cones, can the state do something
It sounds like,
Town road.
just to encourage that people drive slowly through?
because you're going to incur all this additional traffic, so maybe having some speed limit signs there would help for that temporary time frame if they don't want to do it all the time.
oh, and there are temporary speed bumps that may be able to be put in just for
Yeah,
that
bodies
time.
would be-
No, you can't put speed bumps on a public road.
You can put temporary ones in.
Not on a public
Don't
road.
start a fight.
I've been through this in another location.
Pat, did
Ladies
you
and
have
gentlemen,
something that you wanted to say?
I remember when the bridge on 55 was being redone, and everything was going through North and South Parliament, there were troopers on the road more often,
Right,
Oh, for sure.
and everybody was in the area.
we can make that request.
But you could ask for that to happen. Or police it.
Okay.
Yeah.
in the area.
That
Post
helps.
signs and have it enforced.
Is there a town speed limit sign? Is there a town speed limit now?
I couldn't tell you without.
I don't think there is, I mean, on that
Yes,
road?
there, if the speed limit is not posted, yes, there's a
And
town
we
speed
used to
limit. I
have
think
speed
it's
limit
35
signs
or 40.
when we
Well, on
had
Canby
little
Road.
kids at my house,
Yeah.
little kids at Durkee's.
Yeah.
Well,
There used to be
Canby
signs
is a
there.
state road.
It's a state road.
It's just, I have this long-haired white cat, and he owns the road, and he goes out there, he lays down,
And he was
and
there's a
people
detour.
stop, and they drive around him, because they know that he's gonna be out there laying in the road now and again. and
Well, I
strangers
think
will not stop.
What we'll do is, we've got lots of time to talk about this between now and April, and then we can ask for more policing and all that. Thank you, Pat. We'll get more of the facts, and we'll talk about it again.
Okay, we're talking about caging in the backyard too, but I don't know. But I'm wondering if we can get rid of the loop, John. I suggested get rid of the loop. Where's the map? Here. Get rid of that loop of water here. Where are the hell is it? You know, just move it onto one side.
Oh.
Cut through there.
I don't know if the
Don't
DC
worry about this bridge stuff here.
You know what we'll do?
Oh, wow.
The land is
The
pretty
DEC
flat.
would never go
Let's,
for that.
I don't think the
DEC.
DEC will go for it.
It would save a lot of money eliminating two
But
bridges.
let's do this, because we want to get through our meeting, because we have a lot on our plate. This is going to come up again and again.
Okay.
And we also will have some individual conversations with you. We'll make sure the communication is open between us and them as well. So be thinking about it, write any ideas you have down, and we'll share them all with them. And then, but I really want to know when they're going to do it in regards to that circle. So,
Oh, that's
Yeah.
the next thing.
yeah,
Because
so
that
we'll,
may impact even more.
And that would impact a lot,
Yeah.
everybody.
Down the mountain.
Yeah, everybody will be, can't get to 55, so. But we will return to the subject often, okay? And as we get more details, we will feed it out, so don't worry. I mean, you may worry about it, but we'll at least give you all the information that we have, and we'll do our best to keep the traffic slow and,
But we're also concerned with the speed on Slow Road and Slow Valley Road, those two sections. People fly through there.
it's crazy.
Yeah. One other thing.
Well, in our next, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Dave, I just want to say that in our next meeting, on the 17th, we voted in our last meeting for the town board to pass a resolution to lower the traffic on Canby. So that resolution will be, because they may not, what the county has told us is that we can write, we have to pass a resolution to lower speed limits. And we can send it to them, they're gonna, marshal it through to the state for us, and probably say they endorse it, we hope. But they said the state might just thumb their nose at us and not listen. But the first step is that we have to pass a resolution. So we are going to do that for Canby Road, especially near, where was he was having trouble? Deer Pond.
Deer Pond,
Yeah,
because of the
so
site distance.
the distance is terrible. So we're hoping that that might work, and maybe that'll be a test for other roads, because,
Start, good,
yeah.
good.
So we'll keep working on that,
But if
okay?
there are more state troopers, that would help.
Yeah.
And 20% of them will retire in the next year and a half.
Really?
Yeah, there's so many community age.
No, kind of included.
Really?
Now, do we have any more public comments on town issues? Pat, do you have anything you want to say? Okay, so you have a copy, you see all the planning board members and who's retiring when. Yeah, so we have a good group of board members, I have to say. It's planning, zoning,
We do.
the ethics committee, is it a council, the ethics board, the advisory board, and,
Ethics board.
yeah, our BAR. I mean, we're really lucky. I hope that we can get this conservation, the CAC, to be as proactive and as good as our other boards, so,
I just
That-
got one thing.
yeah.
This plan that they're doing on the road detours and all, everything is being done by the Dutchess County Planning Department. Do they know that they're doing the circle at the same time?
Well, I wrote him that, and I asked him the question.
The highway people
always.
do, but do the planning.
Not
people.
always.
You know, I mean, it just,
I don't know, but see, maybe, I don't, my guess is that Commissioner Valkind is in control of everything.
Yeah.
And he certainly knows. But it may be that they're anticipating that circle being finished by April. I mean, I don't know.
And you might want to do it when all the equipment's right in the area anyway.
Yeah, they may want to do them back to back.
First.
Paving bridges, they may want to pave around the
Yeah.
circle.
And remember what they promised us at the Veterans Parade? He came over and promised us the 2 small stone walls on either side of Brusgal as we head towards Town Hall. So that was really nice of them to throw that in. Do you remember us talking about this project? Do you? I don't remember.
Which project?
The circle. Do you remember? Did we discuss he said he was going to start it right after it finished snowing. Did you remember him saying how long it was going to take?
I don't think I
Don't
was
remember?
on that.
All right, I'll go back and
Last
look.
year it snowed well into April.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I asked him a question. Are you coordinating with the commissioner and the crew that are coming to take care of the circle, and then get back to us with some other information? So I'll pass it on. All right, does anybody have any other comments, anything else?
Did they evaluate the bridge down here, right by the park?
I don't know, they've been all around. You've seen them, I'm
Ron
sure.
never said that was, I don't remember.
I remember it was done in 1975.
Yeah, he said
Oh, my
in the
God.
70s.
Yeah.
Remembers everything.
So it should be good yet.
I better be. There's still bridges in Rome that go back 2,000 plus years.
This is not wrong.
But apparently they last longer there.
Wow.
Okay.
I'd be shocked if that bridge is still good.
I'll put a bridge right here in front of me.
No, that was not good.
For us.
That's over a century.
How about that dam? Can they come over and fix that dam?
No, it just go away.
All right. Well, that's another topic in
So-
on the board, on deck, let's say. So for our next meeting, the 17th, we're going to have some discussion about a truck. We've got in the Canby resolution, we've got other things. I was hoping that you all would give some thought to some projects that, I've got a couple things that I want to talk to you all about for the year. But if you have specific things that you would like to get accomplished, or things that you want us to put, that we can kick around and maybe do some research on for one of the work sessions, that would be ideal.
Well, I had mentioned prior to the end of the year, some findings that I saw at Highway Department. I wanted to have the Buildings and Grounds involved in that discussion.
We are waiting to put that discussion on deck because remember we asked Tom Harvey to do a site plan
Right, for a highway?
for highway, so that we can
No, I
discuss
just
the
wanted,
fence and
just
all
to
that.
throw it out there, to put it
Yeah.
on the radar, that's all.
As soon as I receive that site plan, that discussion will be happening, okay?
Yep.
So we'll just wait for the site plan.
Was that able to be found in our archives? The one done like 10, 12 years ago?
No, Fran's coming in on Monday.
Okay.
Our historian will be here, so we're
Monday?
going to ask
Okay.
her to,
All
she's
right.
coming back. So we were going to ask her to see if she could find
Okay.
it for us, which is great.
We
So-
had talked about making a meeting available with the county highway planner about the circle,
If necessary.
if necessary, correct. Most of the comments that I have heard were from fire department members. I didn't know if we might want to see if they wanted to hold that meeting at one of their facilities or whether we hold it here. But I think it's something we ought to,
Consider doing.
yeah, exactly.
So the new commissioner was here the other day taking his oath and of office, and actually his concern, which is right up, is similar to what you're saying. His concern was the straight intersection at the circle. The problems that the county was trying to alleviate at our request was to keep the accidents from happening from the new impact of the LaGrange circles, where everybody knows that once you enter in a circle, you have right of way. And he said that may be true, that we can alleviate that with a straight intersection, but his concern was that the speed with which people are going to come racing down the mountain now that they know that they have the right of way and they're going to be barreling through, he thinks that if there are accidents that they're going to be now more severe. So that might be the question.
I think that's the question that was
That's-
raised
yeah, okay.
with the other members.
So there was a really interesting highway traffic study or engineer. We could get him and maybe some either.
Well, I think it would need to be a county engineer.
No, he was.
Okay.
Yeah, he was with Commissioner Balkine, so
Right.
I'll just call Commissioner Balkine, we'll ask him,
Yeah.
and he'll send who he thinks will do a good job, if not himself.
And maybe we could just do a 2-for-1 special and they could present on the Shaughnessy Road detour along with the circle.
Yeah.
Timeline
Lump
for
it
both.
together,
Kind of like
yeah.
when they did 55 and they gave us like all the timeline. This is 82, this is 55.
Okay,
Bang for your buck.
great, all right. We will put that request in. Great idea. I know we're waiting to hear, we're gonna do some senior work. I think maybe it would be interesting with our new event coordinator that we come over and talk through some ideas, maybe with her, and get her help with some of the stuff.
I did notice that her name wasn't on here. Did it happen?
It's not, the back of the packet has all the jobs.
Oh, it's back
but
there.
There's no, there's
Oh,
no names
gotcha.
or anything, it's just the actual jobs we have.
Okay.
So she's in there. But we could do that if you want to get started on that. I've got to do some work on the dam, and we're still waiting to hear an update on the solar, we've mentioned the solar, the cell tower. We've got a great location, they're very excited about it, but once their legal team, that's not out of the picture yet. That still could move forward, so we'll keep everybody posted. But that's going to keep all of us busy when that goes to the next step.
Yeah.
And the dam work is moving forward a little bit, which I'll fill you in on. George Kolb and I are talking about the house, our renovation of 11 Tymore Park Road. And we had some people come over and pick apart some things and look at them to try to find out. George had already completed a list of things that need to be done.
Oh, excellent.
And then the former tenant had sent me an email with a list of at least 4 additional things that weren't on the first list. So we have a good start of what needs to be done. And we had some gentlemen come over and take an additional look. And so I think George is completely, obviously he's completely on board with kind of acting like the, what would that be, the
General
GC?
contractor.
Would be the general contractor and oversee the project
Yeah.
for us, which would be good. But we're going to pull together more of the ideas and the numbers, and then so that's starting to move forward. Hopefully, it won't snow. But that's a big project for us this year, how we're gonna use it, and we gotta run a lot of numbers to share, and maybe we can come up with 2 or 3 choices and see what people think is best. So that's the projects are solar, cell tower, our rental house to try to make additional, those are our 3 new income projects for the town. We've got hopefully a new CAC that will help us with some environmental things, that will help expand our recycling center to help us. Pat can be an advisor on that one, because Pat certainly knows that business well, and you helped us a lot when we were looking at the prices. Thank you, Pat. But we've got that, something that we've got to do. We've got some work to do with the highway department. This is the year of the highway department, we told. There was that new, did you see that new resolution about the 284 being done for the January meeting?
Yes, I did.
That has been shared. So at the next meeting, we should hopefully have some data to look at. But anything else, any high priority? If you guys could think about them and let me know, we'll put it on the next agenda, or we'll just say this will be our work session items for the...
I have one item to add, scenic roads sometime this year.
Oh, yeah, that was in my...
Well, yeah, now somebody came to me, and I don't know no names, but I remember somebody came to me and said that actually wouldn't flush out. Didn't we get some information
What do you mean
too
by
from
flush
Mr.?
out?
That it wasn't worthwhile, I think that if we want to do something, I think that maybe, I don't know what the benefit would be unless we made it a historical road. Is historical like one step up?
It was in our code.
Yeah.
It was
It
removed
is.
with the intent of upgrading it, and it never got upgraded. So it's
You
not in
mean
our
the
code.
scenic road description,
The
the,
whole chapter is gone from the code.
Yeah.
oh, I thought I saw it.
Well,
You and I looked at it one day
Quick
when we were
search.
talking about this. Do you remember that? No?
I looked at a sample from another town, but I don't think I
But
could find it in our
didn't really
code.
do anything in depth with it.
that was my concern. It's no longer in our code.
But what benefit do we get from, just,
Protect scenic parts. We have some very scenic roads in the town and views, and I think we should protect them. while
can we protect them just by designating them a scenic road, or do they have to
Yes.
be designated something stronger?
Well, I'm not a legal one to really answer that, but that was kind of to me, a flag that, we're concerned about this, and it was something that the planning board would keep in mind, and developers and property owners, that, we consider this a very worthwhile scenic area, and we want to try to maintain it as much as possible.
No, I think it's a great idea if it has enough heft in it to keep things from happening. Do you have
I
something?
was on CAC
Back then?
just before we got this.
Yeah.
About the scenic roads. And Lizette had sent out questionnaires to people on the supposedly,
Residents.
like Shaughnessy.
Yeah.
Which would be
Yeah.
a scenic road.
Yep.
And people, some people did send back responses indicating they weren't interested because they felt it would impinge on what they wanted to do with their property.
Some did, but my impression was the majority of them. Well, the majority was positive. From
All right, you
residents.
probably saw what Lizette saw, I just saw negative.
Yeah.
See, I think this is a great project for a CAC. Only because there's interest, clearly there's interest. I need to understand what benefit we get. I mean, if the zoning doesn't change or other things to preclude developing or whatever. I don't know if we, I
It
mean.
doesn't really preclude development, it just keeps that factor as part of the visual value for the town not to be destroyed. You could develop in a way that you don't destroy the attractiveness of the area.
So maybe the planning board could become kind of more of a, the gatekeeper, so to speak, of analyzing
they're the ones
projects.
Really, who really are on the line with the developer or
we could
property owner
Ask
to
them to,
see what's going to be put there.
Pat, did you have something to say?
Yeah, so the definition of scenic road is still in the code, but it was repealed in 2012.
Yeah,
The whole chapter on it.
right, and never replaced.
Wow, that wasn't even that long
And
ago.
the intent was to replace it, but it never got replaced.
Okay, and that, Pat, you're on the planning board, I could see, I'm trying to understand how we benefit from it. So if we had a real strong description and we had specific places around town, then what are we gonna do? Restrict homeowners from doing something they want to do?
Not necessarily. Where lots are, if they do a subdivision where lots are placed in building envelopes on plans, to protect views and things like that on scenic roads.
Protecting views would be awesome. I mean,
Yeah,
I-
that's essentially the main part of it, and it's a give and take. The planning board has that in their back pocket as one of the goals, and they could maybe give in some area allow certain things, or ZBA allow certain things, yet maintain the scenic aspect of the property.
See, we also have on the planning board, above a certain height being built, we have the discretion to approve colors. and
Right,
looks
ridge
and houses
lines.
too. So we do have some discretion on scenic roads where there would be views.
Well, if you had a new development that built on top of a mountain, let's say, and then you realize 4 miles away you could see the white houses out of the blue, would you, do they have ridgeline protections or something like that we
Yes.
could? Okay,
Yes, we've actually had people come in front of us where they got to tell us the color of the house, what it's gonna look like, and give us the elevations and how you would see it from all the.
do you think that the planning board could use a little more direction on how you do that, or is it all just, you guys are all just sharing opinions, or would it be helpful to have direction in this code rewriting where you got more specifics from other places that are way ahead of us on this?
I think if you designate more scenic roads, it gives us more of a baseline of what everybody's looking for in the town. And, maybe along the way, if there's more scenic roads that come up as, we go through the town, it might be better and it protected.
Yeah, and it gives the more realistic expectation of those applying to do anything on a piece of property, either owner or buyer or whatever.
And we could mark it
I
accordingly,
mean,
so.
there are parts right along Clove Road that
Yeah,
should be protected.
for
Well,
sure.
what about Mack Road with, since FDR used to go up there and go fishing with John Mack, why didn't we ever do anything about that?
That's more
kind of
historic
neat.
than.
That's a historic road, though, that's
Yeah,
kind of.
that's historic.
That was one of the roads, but then that got chopped off when Bick, well, the
Bick
whole ridge
complained,
line
right.
fenced it in. So you can't go to the peak anymore, the top of the ridge to see.
Right,
Well, you
Okay.
can, but
You might get killed.
yeah.
Don't do it.
Exactly. You gotta need a good fence climber.
Well, this sounds like a really
It's a
good
hunting
project.
preserve
This sounds
now,
like
isn't it?
something that would enhance
Yeah.
the beauty of the
It's all near.
town. All right, I mean, I think that if, this sounds like a great project.
look into it.
Let's look into it, and we'll get some people to do some research, hopefully, for us that would be interested. And then the town board can work on the code and give the planning board direction, but I think it's definitely in their wheelhouse.
Okay.
Don't you, I mean, that's the way I see it heading.
Yeah.
Does
Oh,
anybody-
yeah, no, I think John's point was let's reinstate
Yeah.
getting it
It
back.
was
to
not
code.
intentionally removed to be permanently removed. from
Okay,
code.
so we
My
can,
concern is, we should not let that omission be continued, we should address it.
Right, because we're doing all the code
Yeah.
changes anyway.
Updates, yeah. that's the
okay,
update.
we'll do, that's really interesting. Okay, great. Great. So anybody other ideas? We have, we're going to conduct our review of our policies. We've got a lot of policies done this year. We have to finish our employee manual, and then we're going to start reviewing. And so you know that the reviews are coming, so you may want to ask around or look at them and see how you think things are going with them. We're not going to shoot ourselves in the foot. We'll just do one a month or something like that. But the first one up will be our employee handbook, so we can get those new vacation policies and things and kind of upgrade that one. And everybody had comments about that employee handbook, so that'll be a work session, dig deep and write it up. So that'll be the first, I think in the next work session, oh joy, that's what we'll be working on. It's one of those things you gotta do. So, if you don't have anything else, can we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Great, all in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned, thank you very much. We'll see you on the 17th.
That bill check, Matt, so, did that get back to you, Betsy?
Yeah, you want it?
Just want to.
Thank you.
Oh, it's, here it is, yeah.